Awesome, awesome. Well, hello everyone. My name is Eric K. Thomas, and I am the editor-in-chief of The Quintessential Gentleman, which is a media platform that focuses on telling the positive stories of Black and brown men. And today we are here kicking off the New York Latino Film Festival. Let's give it up. And right now we are at Futuro Digital Conference, which is the premier conference for content creators to be able to get their gems, to be able to figure out the ins and outs of the industry, to speak to all of these panelists right here who are about to give us all of the knowledge that they have. We've been able to curate this panel to be able to help us to grow. Social media not going anywhere, so we're gonna have to keep these conversations going. We're gonna have to learn about it and figure out how we can maximize it. So we wanna be able to know how you're gonna, what you'll be able to leave here with is monetizing your platform, making sure that you are growing your platform, and also making a difference. So talking about making a difference, we're gonna go ahead and kick this off by having Mr. Jared Denzel, mental health advocate, out here right now. Come on, Jared. Jared, what's up?
It's good to be here. I am so excited.
Love to have you here. How you doing? You doing all right? You good?
I'm good. You know, I was saying this is my first ever in-person, speaking thing. So
and welcome right here. We love to have it. Thank you for coming. Perfect. So let's just start out. How did you get here, right? Like, tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh, Lord.
And then tell us, we already know you're a mental health advocate, but we want to know how you got to this particular space to where you're advocating for people to focus on their mental health.
Oh, God. It's been a long road. I say a lot of times that I've had a lot of really crazy things happen, but it's not that crazier than the average person's story. I'm just very transparent about telling it. But I have struggled with depression and anxiety, honestly, since high school. But because there wasn't really language for that, I didn't know that that's what that was. And so, I struggled with that throughout high school and then into my 20s. But then when I lived in Harlem for about 3 years, I had a roommate. And about 3 weeks after we moved out of the apartment last August, he took his own life. And that will shake you up in a way that you don't even realize, because no one knows how to handle those types of things. I know.
Is it an earthquake? What's going on?
Well, what's going on? But when he passed, it really shook me up and forced me to, deal with my own shit. My struggles with depression, anxiety, suicide ideation. And I think after you get shaken up that much, you're just kind of I don't care what anybody says anymore. And then I just got on social media and started talking about all of my stuff. Because in my head, I thought that if I was more transparent, then maybe other people would feel more comfortable talking about their things as well. And that's really what got me started doing it.
And love your platform. Definitely was checking it out. Love how you're so transparent and being vulnerable. And I think where we are now from a society perspective, it's normalized. So having these type of conversations are more apparent, right?
Yeah.
And especially for black and brown people, but specifically black and brown men, right?
Yeah.
And I guess my question to you is, from dealing with the suicide, dealing with your friend or your roommate who was suicide, do you feel that there were signs or were there conversations that you could have had, or did you see it before it happened? Because a lot of people feel like, oh, you should have saw this, or, oh, is that true?
Not really. To be honest, in hindsight, I look back and I'm still struggling now with the guilt of that, because I didn't really see signs, but there were some things, especially as you look back, you're like, oh, that was a window where I could have talked to him about something, or that was a sign. But I think when you're in your day-to-day life, and especially if you don't even want to admit it to yourself that you're struggling with that, you're probably not really looking for signs in anyone else. So after the fact, I did, but at the time, I didn't. It was crazy, the fact that we lived together. New York apartments are small, so I was less than 3 feet away from him, and I had no clue. When I found out, it shook me up, because he really was, and I know this sounds so cliche, but he was the happiest, most chipper, always joking, all of that. I did not see that coming at all. It really shook me up.
So I wanna talk about specifically social media, right? And I wanna know in your opinion, what part does social media play in, one, the mental health piece, right? So like being able to say, okay, I'm looking at social media, I'm scrolling through these pages. How is that affecting me, good or bad?
I mean, social media is not real life. Like, even me, like, with what I post on social media, like, you see glimpses of it, but you don't see when I, can't get out the bed or I haven't showered in 3 days because I'm just feeling really low. I think that social media is great for, like, connecting with people and staying in touch, and if you want to try to build a platform and maybe have that send you into, like, another category of media personality or entertainment or whatever. But it can be harmful, too. Like, I say one of the biggest things is like body issues, because I look at some of these dudes on Instagram and I'm like,
Everybody got six pack.
I'm
Everybody
never gonna
gym
look like
rats.
that.
I don't know what's going on.
Right, I could be in the gym 24/7 and eat a cube of cheese a day, and I'm still never gonna look like that. So like that's kind of I think like the harmful side of it. But on the other side, there is the good side. There is like people sharing their stories, and I feel like since I've started being more vocal on social media, I meet so many people telling me about their stories. And it really does make you feel like you're less alone. When you're struggling with depression and anxiety, you know there are other people struggling with it, but it's kind of like unless someone comes and says like, hey, I'm going through the same thing, you're not really thinking about that. Because in that moment, you're thinking about yourself, to be honest. But when other people reach out to you, it's like, okay, I am not the only one going through this. Okay, if such and such is going through it, then I can go through it and manage it as well.
I think another big part about social media is the content that you consume.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, years ago, not anymore, I used to love watching fights on Twitter, like World Star.
I still do.
I used to love watching, and I don't know why, sorry, I was born in Philly, probably an issue. But I realized that the content that I consume and I'm, constantly seeing on my feed affects me. Just like, I've just recently learned the music that you listen to affects your mood. The lyrics that are being written, that are being seen, and things like that as well. You agree?
Yeah. No, I do. It's funny that you say the fighting thing, though, because I used to watch fighting videos, too. I don't know why. I'm from Louisiana, and I'm in the hood. So, like, I guess that's why. But it does affect you, the content that you consume. Again, like, it can go in good or bad ways. I think that I try to do my part in like balancing it out and like being as transparent as possible so people can feel like they identify with what I'm going through, or even if they can't always identify with it, because not everyone struggles with depression or anxiety, at least as heavily as I do, but for them to like, I don't know, gain more knowledge on maybe how to deal with people that are struggling with it, or just how to, if they're on the cusp of, I don't know, going to therapy, like maybe that'll be the things that tips them over to say, like, maybe I should go to therapy.
At what point did you realize that what you were doing on social media, when did you realize the impact of your conversations about mental health?
I had a family member reach out to me, and like this family member is like boss bitch, works. When her husband lost his job, she held it down. Like their lifestyle didn't change, and she came to me like maybe about like 6 months into me doing it and saying like, I've been taking depression medication for about like 15 years. I had no clue. Like she was really like strong, tough. She reminds me of Vanessa Williams' character from Soul Food. Like just a tough lady, like got it together. So when she told me that, I was super shocked because I never looked at her like that. But that was the moment where it's like, what you're doing right now is helping people. Is making them feel a little bit more comfortable. Because I've said before, I'm not Oprah. Like, I'm not trying to get out here and fix your stuff. I'm not a life coach. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a regular person. But it does make people feel a little bit more comfortable when, like, you're not a life coach and you're not a therapist. You're just a regular person and you're telling me about your stuff and you're putting it all out there. And that makes me feel a little bit better about myself and the struggles that I'm going through. But that was the moment, and that shook me up. But I've had a lot of those where I'll have either friends or acquaintances reach out to me and tell me like, I've been struggling with depression too. I've been struggling with anxiety. I've had thoughts of suicide. I've attempted suicide. It's crazy how I'll hear stories from all these people, and honestly, they're very similar. But it's crazy to me that so many people are dealing with the same thing, but we all act like we're not. Like we all act like we have it together 24/7. It's like if y'all would just stop putting this mask on and talk to each other, you would see that like you are all going through similar things and we could be there for each other. We just gotta like, you have to be willing to be more open. And I'm not saying you gotta go out there on social media and put all your business out like how I do, but you can, being more open and talking about it more freely, it really does help people. And it helps yourself. Because I know me being on social media doing all this, it has helped me substantially. It's almost like a video diary just to talk about everything that I'm going through.
And, you know, for me, what I do think one of the benefits of social media is realizing that you're not alone.
Yes.
There's so many things that I'll like read and say, oh, wait, I do that same thing.
Right.
I found out recently that I have like functioning anxiety, high functioning anxiety. And I didn't know that I had that. I just knew that I was always anxious. Every time something came, my job, I'm really good at my job, but the only reason I'm really good at my job is because I'm afraid I'm going to get fired.
Yep.
So I overdo it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it's like everything that happens. And it wasn't until I saw this TikTok thing where they were like, okay, functioning anxiety is 1, 2. I said, yo, that's me. That's me. And what I was able to do with that is that now resharing those conversations and having those real conversations, with myself or with my supporters on social media, be like, this is what I'm dealing with. And so many people going back to you saying, oh, I deal with the same thing. Oh, I'm working with this too. And what I found is that being able to say, this is how I'm dealing with it, that helps.
Yeah. No, it does. I think similar to you, I was on Instagram, and so I'm tired a lot, like everybody in New York. But
all tired. We all tired.
I'm tired a lot, but I didn't realize that was a side effect sometimes of depression. Like you don't have any energy, and then another one was like brain fog. Because I thought I was just getting stupid because I couldn't do my work, but it was like, no, like that's a part of it too. You feel like you can't focus and your head's just in a fog. It's super helpful, and it makes me feel like, okay, I'm not weird, or I'm not like the only one, or something's not wrong with me. A lot of people deal with this, and this is a common side effect of depression or anxiety,
How do you, for the younger demographic, younger generation, how would you say is the best way to, I won't say attack, but to have these type of conversations? Because, at least, my age, and not me, but people my age got kids, and they having these conversations, and I'm seeing them doing all this. The kid, yeah.
Not yet.
But I wonder, how do you have those type of conversations with those younger kids now that you have at least know what it is? Do you kind of know how you can kind of have those conversations with them?
I think one of the most important things you really can do is just be open. I think when you are speaking from a place that is genuine, people will pick up on it regardless of the age. And I think a big part of me, is just sharing my story. Like, I don't come with, the tips and to do this and to do that, because I know sometimes when people come at me with that, I'm like, girl, I'm not trying to hear all that shit right now. Like, today was a rough day. Right. I don't want anybody telling me to breathe and put up, girl, I know all that already. Like, I don't need to hear that. I think for me, I just say how I feel. Like, I'll go on Instagram sometimes and I'll just say, today sucked. End of post. Today was terrible, and that's what it is. Because you're going to have days like that, and I feel like that resonates with people, regardless of your age.
So I know you don't have tips and trades, but if you were to say, from a social media perspective and being able to, you consume it every day, how do you work through that? You talked about, seeing the people who, always at the gym and things like that. How do you, seeing this all day, every day, if that's what you do, how do you maintain it? How do you have a better social media etiquette, I guess I would say, or a healthy social media usage?
That's tough, because you know how you get those things on your phone and be like, your social media usage is up by 84%
on Sunday when they send it out. Who does that? Come on, Apple.
It's always something ridiculous, too. It goes up each week. Right. I think that it's difficult, but trying to limit your time on social media, because I've noticed I have Peacock, so there's commercials on there. And as soon as a commercial comes on, I'm scrolling through my phone. Or I'll be watching movies and I don't even know what the movie's about because I've been scrolling through my phone the whole time. You really have to put it away sometimes. You really do. Because as good as social media is, it can also take over your life if you let it. It can be just a lot. Intrusive, it's a lot. You gotta find a balance with those things. Like even me when I post on social media, it's usually because something has happened or I have felt something that I feel like I need to talk about. Like I don't post just for the hell of posting. I know like if you're a content creator, it is good to be on social media a lot, like posting and to have a presence, but you also gotta remember that that's not real life, and you're gonna drive yourself crazy doing that every day. You gotta find a balance for that.
I literally watch House of Dragon episodes multiple times because I'm on my phone missing something.
Right.
You know,
you have no idea
no idea what's going on, and it's like the worst. And you know, I guess even adding this, I guess a part of your question as a story and to get your feedback from that. During the pandemic, you know, it was a really hard time, you know, for everybody, specifically for me as being a content creator for Black men. Yeah. And during that time, you know, Black Lives Matter and the protests and everything that was going on, being a news outlet, we had to continue to post it where other people could just shut down, turn off the phone, don't watch the news. Because of our audience and trying to inform our audience and share those stories, it was so difficult for me personally, making sure that, you know, we're constantly sharing this content, but I'm seeing it all day, every day. And I didn't realize how much of a toll that took on me. And I wonder from a content creator perspective, that's your job. So is there like, in your opinion, even you who talk, I mean, at this point, you're creating this content, talking about it day in and day out. Is there like an expiration for you where you're like, okay, after 9 o'clock, I'm done. After 8 o'clock, do you put some type of restraints on your own when it comes to creating content in this space?
I try to. Like I just said, I don't post just to post. Like it's usually if my anxiety is flaring up, I'll make a video about that because it actually helps calm me down when I talk about it because it's almost like a weird form of therapy for me, like talking about something that happened. But like I said, you have to have a balance. You have to find a time where it's like, okay, I'm going to put this away today. Like I know for me, I usually try to post throughout the week, but the weekends I don't unless I'm here. But like, you know, outside of that, like I try not to post on the weekends because I still want to have a life too. Like this is great and this is fun and it's helping others, it's helping myself, but I still want to have a life too. I don't want this to consume me. And there are some times when I see iPhone telling me you've gone up by 84% on social media that I feel like it is consuming and it does. I will tell myself like, Jared, you need to put this away. Or like when I'm watching TV show and I start scrolling through, I'll be like, put it down, put it away. Like stop looking at this every 5 seconds.
It's, you know, and I will even say for my mental, I look at things as TikToks now. Like, I'll be walking around and I'm like, I look at life as TikToks. Okay. Like, oh, that would be a dope TikTok. Oh, let's recreate it. Yeah. And now it's like you're functioning, your mind is functioning in a way as a content creator to always be in that space. Yeah. And what I've had to realize is that from a content creator perspective, one of the biggest things is creativity. And where are you getting the creativity from? Yeah. Because if you're constantly creating, there's nothing for you to pull inspiration from. Yeah. So now I always make it a point to, you know, whenever I'm doing things, normally when I'm doing things with my friends or doing things, you know, outside of like work, I'm really trying to focus on that moment and being in that moment.
Yes. And that's difficult to do because like even when I was backstage earlier, I was like, okay, I'm going to make a post-event video and it's going to be like, you know how Meg Thee Stallion does those videos like, okay, hotties, I went to Texas and I da-da-da. Okay, so I was going to make a video like that. But then it's also like you so busy filming everything and taking all these pictures, you're not even letting it soak in that they've asked you to come here and people actually want to listen to what you have to say. Like I'm not thinking about that. I'm not being in the moment because I'm so busy like trying to get all this content. You do start to look at your life like one long Instagram post and that's not good. That's terrible. And I try to like remind myself of being in the moment. Like I have these like pinch me moments because I've been able to do a lot of really cool stuff since I started talking on social media, and this is one of them. And again, it's crazy that y'all are actually listening to what I have to say, but it's really cool. But I feel like if you're not in the moment to like let that soak in, you'll let it all pass you by, and it'll just become one big blur. I don't want it to be one big blur. I want to, you know, remember it and soak all of this, all of you talking to you right now in fully.
So if you could give advice to content creators in managing their mental health as they're in this space that's a continuous space, what advice would you give them?
Take a break, find balance. Like you cannot make this your life. You cannot do it 24/7. Like I know for me, it's weird. It's almost like because I talk about mental health so much, I almost forget that I do struggle with it. It's like, you know, you do shit. You're not just talking about depression. You actually, like, you struggle with it. So finding a way to unwind, take a break, take care of yourself, just finding the balance, which is tough because, you know, social media is a consistent thing. If you don't post today, you start to lose followers. But, like, I'm at a place, especially with my content, where it's coming from my heart. So if you want to follow me, that's fine. And if you don't, that's fine too. Like, I'm going to post when I feel moved by something that has happened in my life and when I feel like I can actually help someone with what I'm saying, not just, again, posting just to post.
And what's next for Mr. Jared Denzel?
You know, I am so grateful just to have this opportunity, all the opportunities that have come to me. So whatever the universe decides to send my way, I'm happy with it. I just love being able to talk to you guys, to talk to you, and to help normalize a conversation around mental health. So whatever the universe decides to bring my way, I'm fine with it.
Perfect, and we're going to receive all of that. And where can people check you out on social media when you're on there, not taking a break?
Right. At Jared with 2 R's, Jard, .Denzel, like Washington, JRED.DNZEL. On Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, oh Lord. Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and I think that's it. I don't think there's any more.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Love this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.